Okay, so in this video what we're going to do is we're going to go over creating a small building for our alleyway scene. We're going to do that by first of all starting off with a cube or a box and dragging that along the grid and then moving that up. You can see here that my box is outside my viewport window, but if I tap F it will focus on that. Now it is good practice to name any object that you've created in here, so I'm just going to call this building. And then I'm also going to change the color of it just by double clicking this color panel, and I'll just go for a grey. Now to start off manipulating this, we're just going to go into the modify tab. We're going to right click on the word box and we're going to turn it into an editable poly. Okay, and you can see that there's many more options that we can use and many more tools that we can use to manipulate this box. Here we've got our different selection tools, so I can select some vertices and move them about. I can grab some edges as well. I can also grab some polygons, and you'll notice as I cycle through these the list of tools that I have available also change. Okay, so just remember that. You'll also notice as we slide down we can no longer get to that selection section. The best thing to do is to click on this plus icon here and then you'll have that available to you. So I'm going to go into polygon mode and I'm going to select the top of our building. I'm going to use what's called the Extrude tool, which if I select here and highlight and click and drag in this polygon, you can see what it's done is it's extruded this out, but it's done it by creating a new set of polygons around my model, which is very handy because the more polygons that we have and the more edges that we have, the more detail that we can add in to our building. Now there's two ways that you can use most of these tools. You can see that each one has a small window icon beside it. These are the settings. So for instance, I'm going to select all my polygons here just by holding down shift. Okay, and this time I'm going to go into the settings for extrude, because if I had clicked that and clicked and drag in this polygon, you can see it kind of slides out as a shelf like they're all in one group, which I do not want. So I'm going to go into the settings and this menu icon or menu system pops up where I can select and drag. So if I click and drag in these arrows, I can determine the amount of extrude that happens. But up here is, you can see that it's highlighted as a group. I can change that to local normal, and what that does is it allows me to extrude them out perpendicular from their original polygon, which is what I want. There is another setting for by polygon which doesn't group them together at the end, but for this here I'm just going to leave it as in local normal. Now before you deselect this you have to press the OK button. If you come off that, you can see that the polygons that I had selected deselect and then the extrude doesn't happen, so you must press the OK button. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some new edges here for my building. I'm going to again go into my edge mode and I'm going to click and draw down a line selection here, and what that's going to do, it's going to grab most of the horizontal lines going across my building. Now I've done that face onto my building. You might want to use your front view to do this. Press G here to get rid of my grid. It just makes it easier to see what's happening. So if I grab here, you can see I've got my horizontal lines. I'm going to use this connect tool. I'm going to go into the settings though. And you can see it's made a new edge down here. This bottom slider, if I click and drag in it, allows me to move that across. I'm just going to put that at the end. Instead of pressing OK, I'm going to press on the plus icon, which applies that but also allows me to continue using this tool. So if I click on this plus icon and then draw down here again, you can see it's automatically made an edge on the right hand side, this time equal distance from the border as the one on the left. So I'm going to press the plus icon again, and this time I'm going to do one across. This one down the bottom automatically for me. Again, I'm going to do one across, one up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to segment this building, so then I've got loads of polygons that I can extrude inwards for door and window frames. So I'm going to do that again by pressing my plus icon, drawing down, use my slider to determine how thick this window frame is going to be, or how much width it's going to have. Plus icon again, This here one is going to determine the thickness of the pillar between my two windows. So I'm going to have a window here, then I'm going to have a pillar, and then I'm going to have another window here. So just bear that in mind. Again, so this is going to be my window, plus icon. This is going to be my pillar. And I'm going to keep that going until the end. Then I'm going to do some horizontally across to break up the two floors. So I'm going to have one here. So that will be where my top window ends. Press the plus icon again. And then I'm going to have a pillar or a section between these two. So something like that should be okay. And then since I don't want my windows to start from the ground floor, I'm going to press the plus icon and get them in here. And I'll just apply that. So let's press space here and get back out to our perspective window. And you can see now I've made sections here for windows and then one here for a door. And then all I have to do again is click on the settings for extrude and push those in. And then for the bottom one, I'll just press this plus icon and continue. I'm going to make that one step out. And that's the beginning